What's going on, y'all? We're back. We're gonna do the Week 14 matchups preview in the association. Killer, you ready?
Get into it, man. It's money time.
All right then. Um,
First matchup, man. We got your Great Danes playing the Amherst Speedsters. Um, Certainly, two franchises going in the opposite direction. What are you thinking you see for Week 14 for both teams?
yeah, I'm looking for my team to bounce back from a hard, uh, lopsided loss we took to Solid State. Um, I don't know if Joel Embiid is going to be back this week or not. If I had to guess, I would say not. Um,
Mhm.
for like 2 games, we got our original starting center, Mitchell Robinson, back, but then he
Mm.
fractured his foot in the game against Milwaukee. So that's a big loss for us.
What's up with Julius Randle? Because I know he like sat out a game or something with a thigh injury. Apparently, Peyton ran into his thigh or something.
Yeah,
Was
yeah. I
was
mean,
was what I
yeah, he had I think something like a bruised thigh or something like that. But in all honesty, if that game that he missed, it was a game that Milwaukee sat out 4 starters. So if it was probably a more consequential game, Julius probably would have played. I'm hoping it's not
Mhm.
worse than what it is, but I think it was just kind of just the right opportunity just to get him some rest. No reason to bring him out there and next day, ended up winning that game. Um, so yeah, I think it was a good decision to sit him. Hopefully, he doesn't miss any more time. But you look at all those things, and Kyrie should be back in the lineup next week. His birthday is over. Um, he'll hopefully be
But
back, and
but maybe it's his parents' birthday, this week. We gotta keep up with the circle's birthdays. We gotta make sure we have that on our fantasy schedules as well,
I'll
so that we can
definitely
plan
be
ahead.
I'll definitely be keeping that in mind next season. But Chris Paul is going to be set to debut for the Great Danes next week. So um, if everyone is back, Julius and Brogdon, who missed the game last week, also, if he's back. Robert Williams, man, I'm happy that it looks like Drummond is not going to come to is made a decision to go to the Lakers. I know the Celtics were talking about him or talking to him about joining them. They just recently also traded Daniel Tice. So that opens up minutes for Robert Williams, and I'm hoping that he can take advantage of those minutes. So far, so good. He's been good in limited minutes, really 14, 15 minutes. He's been scary good in limited time. So hopefully, with increased amount of opportunity and minutes, we can see his production kind of be boosted a lot. Enough about my team. Amherst played well last week, but they get Joseph Nurkic back. No Shea Gilgeous Alexander. He's out. I believe he has a fractured something, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's the knee or the foot. I think it's the foot. Um, but I think it's something where he's probably gonna get shut down. I mean,
Yeah.
okay,
I think that's the
OKC just told Al Horford, go to the DR for the rest of the season. We're trying to take a look at these other players. Oh my goodness. And for the first time I've seen Yahoo put up OFS tag, which
OFS
is out for the
alpha
season.
season. Yeah,
I didn't even know that that tag exists. I just
I've
started cracking up.
that was my first time seeing that tag as well. That was interesting. Yeah. that was one of the major. I'll say this. I was a fan of the signing. I thought he was going to be a contributor, and when he played, he actually played well. But
He was really good.
we didn't. So I'm happy to see that he still has got something left in the tank, and he proved people wrong. But he just didn't. Given his situation, there was just no reason to have him out there as much as another team might have ran him out there. So, um, but
Yeah, no incentives for both teams, right? Because, OKC clearly wants to trade him, right? So you don't want to risk him getting hurt.
right.
And also, he doesn't want to get hurt, right? Because he still wants, an opportunity to play meaningful basketball games.
Hmm.
And OKC needs to take a look at, some of these young players and figure out what's what. 'Cause they got ridiculous amount of draft picks.
Yeah.
Like you can't keep all these guys,
Right. Right.
in your G League or something or whatever. You store all these draft picks.
So correction, I think SGA is dealing with plantar fasciitis in his right foot. So that's a really annoying injury. It could keep you out for quite some time. And like you're saying, as you're alluding to, there's no reason to rush him out there. Let him heal up, let him rest. That's the future of their franchise. Um, you know, Amherst, uh, they also have a guy named Jamal Murray, and Bubble Murray looks like he's out to play. Like he's been really good. I didn't realize how good he's been playing as of late, but he's been he's having a great season so far. Do you think there's any chance that
I mean,
Amherst comes?
I think there's a chance, right? Like, I don't think this is like, a runaway victory for your Great Danes.
No, not at all.
But I certainly feel like, like 90% probability, you walk away with a 5-4, uh, you know, take away, maybe 25% of that for like a 6-3 or better or something. Like you just got a well balanced team that's playing that that's playing against a team that's playing well but still has its limits, right? So as long as your team and your players do what they got to do, they don't miss any unexpected time, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, and not to mention your guy Michael Porter Jr. has been playing well as well. He's been great. Recent addition to Amherst, Kevin Porter Jr. getting all that time in Houston. He's on the squad now, and he looks like he's going to be a keeper for them. So um, yeah, even still, I'm going with my team in this matchup. It looks like you are as well, probably.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
said?
I am as well. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's go. All right. Beantown Bombers take on Syracuse Sparrows. What are your thoughts here?
uh, Syracuse Sparrows, getting ready for the next season. Beamtown Bombers is trying to uh, wipe off the memory from last week's beatdown. So I think Beamtown Bombers gets back on track, can walks away with the victory. From Syracuse Sparrows at least 6-3, probably a 7-2 victory in this matchup. They just have too much firepower. And, Syracuse Sparrows is not good. I mean, their highest score for last week had 60 points. And the guy pictured in that photograph is dealing with, I don't know if it's a thigh injury or something where he wasn't able to finish his last game, Jeremy Grant.
Mm,
And, Detroit's at a place where they're not necessarily competing. And so,
mm,
like, their day-to-day injuries will turn to like week-to-week injuries, just because they're not going anywhere fast. So I don't expect them to, rush him back if it's anything that can, if there's anything that's even the slightest of serious or the slightest of pain,
mm.
that's being felt by Grant.
Right.
What do
Okay.
you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any. reason why Beantown shouldn't be bounced back from their loss last week. They're playing against Syracuse Sparrows, who don't really have a whole lot to fight against guys like Halliburton and Zach Levine, and even if you don't have Christian Wood in the lineup, there's still some other guys. R.J. Barrett has been playing very well for Beantown. So they've got more than enough to walk away with a victory in this one. Let's go to Bimtown and Solid State. Any thoughts
This is
here?
this is like a playoff like atmosphere, man. This is an intense matchup.
Yep.
This is what we live for, man. This is what we can't wait for. And we're getting a preview, right now. Bentown Celtics, as we pointed out in the week 13 recap, they've got some players which are gonna have reduced roles. So, we're gonna kind of see how that gels with the rest of the team going forth. Luca, had some suspicious injury that caused him to miss the last two games. Hopefully he's not out because if he misses time, then this is a no contest. Zion, this guy is impressive. He's playing, phenomenal right now. So liking what I'm seeing there. And then looking at the other side, man, that Solid State, man, they're getting in the playoff swing of things. And they're a scary team, man, with very, very few holes, man, and looking to run things back, as they did last year, taking home the regular season title. So I think Solid State, win this matchup narrowly, like 5-4, maybe they can come out with a 6-3. If Luca's not playing, then forget all that. It could turn into a serious beatdown.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I have nothing. Solid State is rolling. I mean, you see the guys they've got, captioned there, starting with James Harden and then leading all the way down to Rashawn Holmes. I mean, all these guys are just balling right now. It's tough, especially with all the question marks that you just highlighted in Bimtown's team. They've right now they're in seventh place, and if they're not careful, things could go in the wrong direction for them in the weeks coming up. They've got to finish out the season strong to still be in the playoffs, but we'll see. Brooklyn Phoenix taking on the Rucker Park Busters.
Another playoff type matchup. And this is the temperature's getting really hot up in here, man.
Oh yeah, Brooklyn going to Rucker Park. New York is hot. NYC is hot right now. What do you see happening in this matchup? You're coming off of a week where you were really disappointed in your players, and what do you think about your chances to bounce back from that and really elevate your game against one of the struggling but better teams in the league?
Yeah, so as alluded to, Brooklyn Phoenix, we're going to be making some changes. Joe Harris will no longer be featured, as one of our highlight players, given his struggles, last week and just over the last couple of months. Just need a little bit more from a highlight player. And so we will probably replace Joe with Kyle Anderson or my man Moses, because he's parting seas right now and he's ready for a bigger role in the Brooklyn Phoenix. And so I think if we can get that going, Ben Simmons, you know, gets his shot together, Karl Anthony Towns, focuses, Paul George gets on track. I think we'll be able to do what we were doing in the beginning of the season, which is coming out with gritty victories against some really good teams. So I'm looking for this as an opportunity for my team to showcase that they are ready, for playoff types of basketball.
Now, tell me a little bit about we talked about Joe Harris a little bit, but what are you seeing from guys like Justin Holiday, or Keldon Johnson even?
Man, they're like the variance between the quality of their games is just all over the place, and for different reasons for both guys. I'll start with Justin Holiday first. Justin Holiday has been great up until LeVert came into the lineup, or came into some of the minutes that he's seeing there. And so I think there's a little bit of a chemistry thing, as well as trying to figure out where his shots are, now that they've got this different roster and different types of minutes allocation. So, I'm hoping that it's just maybe a week or two before he gets things together. But he's also been struggling, but he at least gets some steals.
And
that's all I ask.
And it seems that one of your guys, Devontae Graham, has really been kind of turning it on as far as his scoring, and his 3-point output has really increased since LaMelo Ball went down. Any comment on Devontae Graham?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing what he was doing last year. And he gets really hot. He also gets really cold, but you're gonna get threes out of him, assists out of him, and points. He's just a solid contributor in all those categories. And it's perfect that they've got huge incentives to win games, right? And he's a big part of that. With as you pointed to, with LaMelo down, they need him to score points.
Yeah. Now, are you worried at all that Andre Drummond possibly will be returning to the lineup for Rucker Park next week?
Oh, I actually hope Rucker Park, puts him into the lineup. That would be a huge plus for the Brooklyn Phoenix. Andre Drummond hasn't played basketball since Valentine's Day, and so it would just be huge love, right? Like if he was able to come into the lineup, put up a couple of bricks or duds, and show Brooklyn Phoenix, the love, from the time that he gave us, right? Because he was part of that championship team, way back in the day. So, Andre Drummond, he needs some more time to get his footing underneath him and get things going. And there's so much details to work out. But then again, I mean, the Lakers, could probably use him, even with no playbook. They could probably still use him. So what am I saying there? So, yeah, it's a risk. It might be worth taking.
All right, well, we'll see. I think we both have Brooklyn in that matchup. But I'm not the most confident in it, but we'll see where it goes from there. Dame Stop taking on NY Clinique. Dame Stop trying to make a push. What do you think about this matchup?
This is a good one, man. This is a very good one. You got the ultimate 5'4" in Dame Stop, and you got Clinique, which is, up and down like a roller coaster. And both teams relatively healthy. Yeah. This is a very tough one, man. What do you think about Vucevic's role in his new uh in the Bulls uniform, right? Like I nearly thought that was marketing when you
You're
when you
just
put
you're
this
just
together.
you're just racist, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah,
But at least I,
but
but at least I took the time to think, right? Like I realized that I had some
nah,
bias
you're
there,
right.
right? And I took the time to break it down, man. It's
Nah,
very important.
nah, you're right about that. Vooch, I don't see anything changing with him, man. I think he's gonna do his same old routine. He's gonna grab his rebounds, he's gonna score points, he's gonna hit threes, and he's gonna do it at an efficient rate. I don't really see much changing for him, and there's incentive for Chicago to make sure that that doesn't change and make sure there's nothing in his role that kind of throws him off. I think they want Vucevic to be the guy that he was in Orlando, and I think they're going to do everything they can to make sure that happens. So the offense, I mean, you got Zach LaVine, but now he's got his number two guy in Vooch, and same thing with Vooch. He doesn't have to be as concerned about carrying the offense for this team. So I think it should be good. It should be good. Before, I think teams were probably able to kind of collapse in on him, and they have to, I think, tread a little bit more lightly when you got other guys who out there who could score like Marketing, like Kobe White, like Zach LaVine. So I don't see anything changing with Vooch. I think it's going to be a equally as good of a spot here for him.
Solid. And um, who do you think comes away with the victory here, or what are some things that jumps out, particularly with any of the teams, and how they can get this win done?
Yeah, you look at the names on New York Clinique, and you just wonder why they're not any better than they are right now. But Fred Van Fleet, he's still doing well in his role. But you also have some question marks when you look at the role players on this team, right? Like Kevin Herter, he's had a pretty decent season, quality season, but he's thrown up some duds, especially as of late. Same thing with Carmelo Anthony. He's kind of hit or miss in the offense. Some games he might give you 20. Other games like tonight, he might give you 8 points, shooting 4 for 12. So you just never know. Kristaps Porzingis, he's had a couple of really big games lately, especially the ones that Luka has missed. Like against Indiana, he put up 31 and 18 rebounds. And then the game before that, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. So, but he has a tendency to miss games as well due to rest. So, with all that, I think Dame Stop is really in a position where all 5 of his core players really, they don't miss games, they don't take nights off. They're full force, and that's why they've been able to pull out victories. I think 5-4, and they're even their role players are, if not consistent, they do enough to really be impactful and add on to what this team does well. So I'm going to go with Dame Stop in this one. How about you?
Yeah, I rolled with Dame Stop too, man. They're just the ultimate 5-4, man, and I just they're just trending in the right direction.
Copy. Titans taking on one of the hot teams, the Midtown Money Men, man.
My money is on the money, man. I mean, as we pointed out in the week 13 recap, man, MVP Joker. You got CJ back, and he's running and gunning. We didn't even get to talk about DeRozan and what Turner is able to do. They just have a really solid foundation, and I think it's going to be really difficult for the Titans to get ahead of that. I don't by any means think this is going to be a runaway, but certainly confidently feel the money man will walk out with a 5-4 victory, possibly a 6-3, given all the all the all the great players that they've got playing well at this time.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm looking at the names, and again, with if CJ and even DeRozan are, and Mike Conley, he's kind of taken a step back since the All-Star game, I think, right? He hasn't been as strong as he's been throughout the year, but still good enough to be a contributor for this team. And CJ's back, like you mentioned, and DeRozan is also still producing for San Antonio. His name was being watched during the trade deadline. They wanted to see if he was going to be moved and how that would impact his play. But he's been safe for the season, so that's a great sign for them. Same thing with Miles Turner. No real movement there impacting him. And then the MVP is on this team, man. I gotta roll with the MVP, and so I'm going with the money man. Drew Grit and Cranston.
What a weird matchup, right? Man,
it shouldn't be weird, but it kind of is.
Yeah, and this is mainly because Cranston Killers is not doing what it takes to put together something that's robust and resilient, to injuries, right? I think this, we're talking about a franchise that had an opportunity to maybe make a trade, to get a more healthy and contributing player. This is the team to do it. Right now they've got a flux of injuries, right? And I don't expect them to make any changes between now and when games lock Monday evening. They've got Russell out, they've got James out, Jared Allen is in the concussion protocol. He's at least missing a game. Tice maybe misses a couple, and I'm not sure if I'm not sure if he's played a game with Chicago yet. And so that right there already is only 4 or 5-ish players for the week, where on the other side, True Grit, a lot of players that are not good outside of Jaylen Brown and Vooch, but they look like they will be playing games, adding minutes, counting stats. And so I think that could, in a weird way, he could outlast Cranston Killers just because of the amount of games. I should have just looked at this. Right now, the projected amount of games played is True Grit 28, Cranston Killers 19.
Ooh.
And and I don't know if that'll hold, but man,
yeah, I should have looked at that.
I didn't know it was that bad, man.
Yeah, I should have looked at that. That's really telling, because like you mentioned, what this matchup is going to come down to is are their bodies for Cranston? Are their bodies going to be out there to put up numbers for the team? True Grit, they've got some injuries, but they've got enough guys out there that can go out there and contribute something and put up something, put up an effort. So, um, and with that kind of lead in terms of games played or projected games played for the week, I mean, yeah, that's a compelling enough reason for me to think that True Grit could walk away with that win. But I think I was more so thinking along the lines of, well, talent for talent. Obviously, we know who the more talented team is. And I don't expect D'Angelo Russell back anytime soon, but they're talking like he's going to be coming back, or at least begin some on court work soon. So, but
You
I
think
don't.
you think he's doing that on court work with Anthony Davis?
I don't know, man, but with LeBron being out and D'Angelo Russell being out for Cranston as well, one thing I didn't mention previously was, in terms of big men, you mentioned Jared Allen, but there are other big guy, Daniel Tice, who he got traded to Chicago. His role substantially changes from when it was in Boston, I think. Um, I think I foresee a lot less minutes coming his way, and possibly doing things just differently. I don't know if they'll allow him to play with the same kind of style that he played in Boston. So that's something to watch. But that I think ultimately will reduce his value. So Daniel Tice and no Jared Allen, um, no LeBron, no D'Angelo Russell, and then we don't see even like really a suitable replacement for either of them. So I think, like you mentioned, maybe this team would have been beneficial for them to look for a deadline deal to, you know, help their chances going forward. But this team now, after all said and done, you got to worry about them whether they're going to still make the playoffs or not. I haven't looked at who their opponents are the next couple of weeks, but um, True Grit coming up, they could potentially lose that one. And if they're in the same situation that they're in this week, I mean, you could look at that one as a loss as well. Actually surprised they were able to um, gain even up to 4 categories in their matchup this week against Big Town. So,
So update. They didn't make it. They didn't make it to 4.
oh, they didn't.
Surprisingly, yeah. I guess Trey Young wasn't able to get an assist within a quarter.
Ouch.
um, yeah, and then their week 15 matchup is against the Money Man. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's not looking good for them. Yeah. This if we talked about teams that could potentially fall out the playoff race, and Cranston is looking like that team now. What a fall from grace after we were talking about this team being one of the best in the league, and I think number 1 or 2 in our power rankings starting out the year. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I went with Cranston this week, but I'm convinced by everything you've said, and looking at the actual availability of their guys this week, it's looking like True Grit could walk away with that one. So I'm going to agree with you on that one. The 17ers take on King's Landing. Not the most not as interesting of a matchup as we've seen in the some of the previous ones highlighted, but um, you know Frankfurt is coming off a good nice win in week 13, and Kings Landing continues to slide with the injuries they have, but good news for them is that Steph Curry looks like he's possibly coming back this week. So does that, do you think, give them any better of a chance coming into it?
No, because Curry's gonna at least miss one game, it looks like, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to believe, especially given Warriors continue to slide. Um, so I think the 17ers just they sh- they're gonna win. It's just a matter of how much are they gonna win, and that brings me to the next question I've got, which is how many categories do you think the 17ers takes against Kings Landing in this matchup?
Hmm. So kind of have to look at their teams. Their full roster with guys. But if I had to guess, I think it
See
could
if
be close when it comes to points. But it's not clear to me who would have the advantage, especially if Bradley Beal's playing and Steph Curry's playing. Um, the thing with King's Landing is, who are they rolling out there in their supporting roles, right? So if they're still rolling out, Justin Jackson and, you know, I mean, actually, other guys are okay. Like Jalen Brunson is okay, and even Dylan Brooks has been a contributor. Daniel House, um, but I think they could probably make some noise if they get another guy out there. They still are holding on strong to JJ Redick, and who's now in Dallas. Um, you know, Justin Jackson, he put up exactly 9 points and 4 assists in this week. So if that's going to be a thing that to continue to move forward with, then I think Frankfurt should be able to, take at least 5, 6 categories.
Right. Yeah, the reason why I say that is, Frankfurt right now, given the matchups they ending today, they'll be at the ninth spot, about a half game away from Rucker Park, right? And say, Rucker Park and the Brooklyn Phoenix matchup is close, right? Say if Rucker Park, best case pulls out 6, well, what if Frankfurt pulls out 8, right? Frankfurt moves ahead of Rucker Park. And so that's an interesting development that we should certainly watch, because Cranston Killers, could possibly go backwards, but they have a good enough lead where they should stay into the playoff race until the final week, and shit of course gets real because the money man show up. So it's gonna be an interesting, popcorn filled, week 14 and week 15, man.
Well, why don't we do this right now? I mean, why don't we've got a few teams that are straddling the lines, right? Like, um, first off, you talked about let's look at the 4 teams right now, right? Let's 5 teams. So, I mean, Big Tone should be fine given where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're safe. They should get one of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Cranston, when you look at Beantown, when you look at Rucker Park, and then Frankfurt, I would have loved to add Dame Stop in it, but I just don't think they're there right now, especially at their current pace of winning. They're winning, but
Yeah.
it's just there's a little bit of gap between the 10th and the ninth spot right now. So Cranston, we'll start with them. they've got they won their last matchup, right? But as you suggested and pointed out, True Grit and then Money Men coming to town. You picked True Grit to win this week, and I think that's very possible as well. It looks like they could close out losing their last three matchups in this league. Are they going to make the playoffs? Yes or no?
No.
All right. Which means that let me get the other team. Let's see which one is more interesting. Frankfurt, right? Frankfurt plays King. They just beat Rucker Park, and which could have huge consequences for this, right? So they just beat Rucker Park. They go to King's Landing next week. This week coming up, and then they finish off playing Dame Stop. Are they gonna make the playoffs? Yes or no?
Which team? I got
this is the 17ers. 17ers.
The 17ers.
Yep. Beat Rucker Park in week 13, played King's Landing in week 14, and then finish out playing Dame Stop in week 15. Are they gonna make the playoffs? Yep.
Dame Stop in week 15. Who they playing in 14?
King's Landing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So Cranston, so 17ers in, Cranston Killers out. Okay. What about Rucker Park? Rucker Park.
Yes.
Just lost. They just lost. Wait, they just lost to 17ers. Next week, you predict. You and I both predict that they're going to lose to the Phoenix, and then they finish out the season playing Beantown Bombers. Are they in or out?
They're in by the skin of their teeth. Unless I come up with a 6-3. If I come out with a 6-3, I might be setting cats packing.
Okay.
might be relocating to a new borough.
Okay. So we just said two. So two teams are in. Let's call that let's say the 6th and 7th seed. And now we've got room for one.
You know what? I'm losing it. Nah, I'm losing it. We gotta. Nah, Cranston Killers at 53, Rucker Park at 57. Nah, man, and you got him playing the other brother. Nah, let me run that back. Delete what I said. I didn't think about the context of what was going on. I think Rucker Park is gonna get jumped. I can't. You get jumped back into Rucker Park about to get jumped, man.
Well. Let me hit the last team. Beantown Bombers, who are currently in the 4th position, but after this week will be in the 7th slot.
Mm-hmm.
Right above. 2 games separate, 2 or 3 games separate Beantown and Rucker Park. Beantown lost to Midtown to the Money Men this week, but they go to Syracuse next week, and then they finish out the season again playing Rucker Park. So that 8th or 7th seed. But no, let's call it the 7th seed. That 7th seed, man, who knows? It could be anywhere between 6 and 8, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, possibly. Could he jump? Possibly jump. He could possibly jump to 5.
6 through 9.
It would be difficult.
6 through 9. Those 4 teams are battling for those position in those slots. Rucker Park, the playoff race could come down to week 15, where Rucker Park and Beantown Bombers play each other. One team is you ready? So are you backpedaling on Cranston? Are you
Yeah, so
bringing them back in?
let me revise the script. So
Okay.
give me Bentown at 5. Give me Cranston Killers at 7. Beantown Bombers will come up to 6. And then at 8, give me Frankfurt 17ers. And Rucker Park will not make the playoffs.
Ooh. Wow,
And he moves the franchise to Staten Island.
Oh man.
Maybe yeah. He recruits maybe the Wu-Tang or something.
That brings me to the next point. We've got some luxury tax teams amongst that group of players of teams that we've just discussed. Trade deadline is up. My Great Danes are in the luxury tax. We've got a bill that we've got to pay. Same thing with the Dame stop. Rucker Park, who, as you predicting, will not even be in the playoffs. They've got the biggest tax bill.
Well, we're not gonna let you get off the hook. You're gonna predict the weather too. who are your playoff teams? 5 through 8.
Yeah, I'm actually going the other way. I think, like you said, Bimtown at 5. Bimtown at 5. Beantown at 6. Let me see. Who's Frankfurt playing again?
Frankfurt is playing
King's Landing and Dame stop.
Yeah.
We'll put Frankfurt at 7, and I'm giving 8 seed. Boy.
You gotta answer your own exam questions, Dave. It's rough.
Can you see me sweat? Yeah. I'm gonna go with Rucker Park at 8 because I think with the shenanigans going on in Cranston right now, I think they're out.
Right.
They're out. Yeah, I'm going Rucker Park at 8.
It'll certainly make for a more entertaining first round matchup if Rucker Park is there. I will say that.
I would love to see that.
Right,
Rucker Park against Silent State.
Cranston Killers. Let's just be honest. I mean, they're a bye for whichever first round team is fortunate enough to play them.
Yeah. Now
if they make it, of course.
Now if LeBron comes back for one of these matchups, which I doubt.
Yeah.
It's looking quiet. It's looking quiet for Cranston. But we'll only time will tell, man. We'll continue to monitor the situation, and good luck to the teams, looking to make moves in these next week. We're fighting for those positions, especially those last 4 or 5 teams that we were talking about. Everybody's fighting for positional status in standings right now. Whether you're looking for that number 1 pick in the draft, or that top 3 pick in the draft, or whether you're looking to get into the playoffs. It's definitely going to be an interesting couple of weeks. So, hit us up, give us some comments. Give us a like on that page. You know what I'm saying? Show us some love. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe, man. Subscribe. I don't know if you're getting the notifications for when the videos are dropping, but we're going to try to get this out to you as soon as possible. So, until then, good luck, everybody. It's definitely going to be interesting.